afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 edition of the Haswell M. Franklin Gilman Duels. While today's temperatures outside are comfortably below freezing, this Gilman wrestling season continues to heat up. My name is Jacob Eisenberg, and I have the pleasure to be calling today's match with the 195 varsity pounder, Wesley Seba. Wes is itching to get back on the mat, but sadly is not able to due to injury. But it is greatly appreciated that he is here, and he will be able to give us a bunch of inside information about the team. Today, we are honored to share with you this tournament with such rich history and support of wrestling at Gilman School, along with the state as a whole. This elite tournament will feature teams from multiple states, such as Maryland, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Virginia, and Delaware. Wes, why don't you take it away, break down this bracket for us, and tell us what to expect from the Hounds in this first round matchup against Kiski.
Absolutely. The bracket today is really strong, including teams like Loyola Blakefield, Bullis, and St. Mark's. Starting with Kiski, I think we can expect a very strong showing from the Hounds because some of our best wrestlers are matching up with some of their best wrestlers. Coming off a heartbreaking loss against Archbishop Spalding and MSJ earlier this season, the Hounds are really looking for a win, and I think that should be doable today against Kiski.
That's great to hear. I'm very excited to get started with the 106-pound weight class, but before that, I'd like to start off with thanking all the alumni and family that are tuning in. Wes and I and the Gilman family just truly want to show our appreciation for all of you continuing to value how much we are taking safety for our student athletes into hand. So, before starting off, Wes, what should we expect? What should we expect going into this tournament?
I think we should expect some fast wrestling, very, very fast wrestling. I think we should expect some really tough matches. There are some really good kids here today from all over many states. But we, as a Gilman team, we also have some really good kids. So I think we should expect some really good, tough matches, as well as maybe some easier ones.
Got it. That's great to hear. Out of those top wrestlers, who's a few three or four that you'd love to highlight for us real quick before we get started?
I think the Sherlock brothers, Tyson and Emmett Sherlock, have been consistently really good. Tyson Sherlock has an 8-1 record this season, and Emmett Sherlock has a 7-2 record this season. Also, I think we should highlight to get back that gap.
Got it. That makes total sense. So, while Tyson and Suleiman go out, they will go back to the center to restart. Given that Emmett is facing a very solid wrestler, do you think he's going to approach this trying to look for adding to one of his many falls this season, one of his major or tech, or do you think he's just going to play this out to try and make sure he secures this win to put the Hounds up by even more?
I think he'll start with the mentality of just trying to secure the win, but as he tires out his opponent by riding legs and just continuing on in the match, and also the mental strain from having that early lead, I think it may turn into a scenario where he adds to his pin count.
Got it. Makes total sense. Love to hear that. Perfect. So Emmett has... What do you see Emmett doing right now to contain...
So Emmett is riding legs really heavily. Suleiman seems unable to break Emmett's leg ride, which is one of Emmett's strengths. Emmett is very formidable in his leg rides. Suleiman seems to be having trouble with that, which I think Emmett will use to perhaps get a pin later in the match.
Got it. Perfect. So we're just a little bit over halfway done with this first period. So we will see if Emmett can continue to stay in the driving seat as he lets out Suleiman for an escape to make the score 2-1. Suleiman takes a shot, but Emmett gets great control of his leg. What do you think Suleiman's going to try and do to bounce back in this match as Emmett gets another takedown with the legs?
I think Suleiman needs to make a big play here, like a reversal, because he's been trying to take shots and it hasn't really been working. So I think Suleiman needs to be more aggressive on his escapes and his reversals on bottom.
Got it. Emmett trying to keep him in control. Still maintaining control. Suleiman trying to break free to get that escape, or like Wes brought up earlier, a reversal.
Suleiman's doing a really good thing by keeping his hips high here, which kind of limits Emmett's options. As you can see, as he gets behind, still in Emmett's control, but in a much more favorable position.
Perfect, and that is how the first period will end. Emmett is currently up 4-1, as he did great job to take control of that period start to the finish. Very impressive against a two-year varsity letterman.
Kiski gets choice. They choose to defer, and Gilman's Emmett Sherlock chooses bottom.
What do you think Emmett's going to try and try and get out quickly, trying to possibly look like for a reversal, like you said, Suleiman should? What would be going through his mind right now?
I think Emmett is looking for a quick escape due to his dominance in neutral position with the takedowns. I think he's looking for a quick escape here to get back to neutral, to possibly get another takedown and regain control.
Suleiman doing his best right now to flip him for some back points. Very close, but the ref does not reward any. Emmett's doing his best to try and fight out of this for that escape point.
Emmett seems to be biding his time to try and tire Suleiman out with his relentless offense. He will tire out quickly, especially with a 6-minute match such as this one. Reserving your energy is really important in this scenario.
The ref points for a reset. What does that mean for the players when it looked like Suleiman was continuing to keep control?
So the ref was probably calling a stalemate there.
Got it.
Neither of the wrestlers was working towards offense or defense, working towards bettering themselves, bettering their position.
Got it.
So the ref decided it would be great to reset them back to referee's position.
Got it. Perfect. So this period Suleiman has definitely had some very solid shots to get some points to get himself back chasing away at this deficit, but Emmett is doing a great job not getting flipped here.
Yeah, and Emmett's defense is really putting Suleiman to work, making him try things that may not necessarily be the greatest for him, trying to make him go higher so he could possibly get a reversal.
Emmett trying to fight those hands as he get himself free. Looks like Suleiman has his right ankle locked up as well. About 30 seconds left in this period, so this is not the worst case scenario though for Emmett at all though, because he's not conceded any back points yet. He still has the lead possibly going into this third period.
Yeah, Emmett's strong defense is one of his strong points, and this has really been shown in this period here. Suleiman still trying to get any points in the last 10 seconds of this period. It seems unable to.
The lead at all, yeah. And
that will be the period. That will be second period done. The score: 4 for Emmett, 1 for Suleiman.
Perfect. So, if you're Suleiman here, would you want to be in the neutral starting this one, or how would you like to start this third period to try and get back on Emmett's lead?
So Suleiman chose to go neutral, which I think was probably a good idea given that he cannot crack Emmett's defense, and then Emmett has a very strong offense. Suleiman seems to be relying on getting a takedown here to make things more even and more realistic for him.
Emmett continuing to try and drive away at those legs to get control for another takedown to possibly seal up this match.
And Suleiman gets a takedown. His strategy seemed to have worked.
Emmett, not sure if Emmett broke free there for an escape point. The ref does not believe so. Seems like he was out of the circle before he could get that escape. Suleiman here, though, if the score remains like this and he rides out Emmett for the last 90 seconds of this match, he does not. Oh, it was the escape. The escape was granted, so now Emmett gets another point to go up 5-3 with about 80 seconds left in this third period.
So if you're Suleiman here, you really need a takedown. And if you're Emmett, you probably want to be more aggressive in your defense, which he seems to have done as he drives Suleiman out of the circle, forcing a reset in the middle.
Emmett does look a little gassed with a little bit over a minute left in this period. Let's see if he can close it out.
And both wrestlers are really feeling it. those 5 minutes of wrestling that they've already experienced was really intense. And they're certainly feeling the strain as they're a lot slower than they were earlier in the match.
Not as aggressive, definitely both being more patient now that they're not as... Ooh, good shot by Emmett. He does not have full control though for the takedown.
Emmett seems to be the one driving the match and
tries to
putting on the pressure to keep his lead.
Drag him back in the circle with 30 seconds left in this match. If it stays like this, Emmett will get these 3 points for Gilman.
Remains neutral after an intense fight on Suleiman's ankle.
Emmett and Suleiman did do very, very well there to keep it going on the edge of the circle. Very impressive on both parties.
Now if you're Suleiman here, you really need a shot in these last 12 seconds to drive it to overtime.
Yes.
It looks like that's what he did, but he seems unsuccessful. And Emmett locks him out.
As the clock winds out, and Emmett is the victor of this match. It's 5-3. Both wrestlers look worn out. That was a very exciting match for two clearly very, very top class wrestlers at the 120 weight class.
This drives Emmett Sherlock's record to an 8-2, and it drives the match score to 15-0 as we go into the 126-pound weight class with Emmett's brother Tyson Sherlock wrestling for Gilman. Tyson currently has a record of 8-1.
He will be bowing up against Braden Towell with an 0-2 record for Kiski, and this is his first year on varsity. Tyson yesterday came in a Wes and I's meeting, and he was very confident for today, and I'm very excited to see what he does today.
Seems to get an early shot in.
Quick takedown to get the 2-0 lead.
Similar start to his brother to apply the pressure early and hopefully wear his opponent out quickly.
Doing his best to collect some back points or possibly this fall. Oh.
Seems to be going for a pin, which he gets.
And a pin for Tyson to take his record to 9-1. And that takes Gilman's lead up to 21-0 before the 132-pound weight class. Tyson did live up to his word from yesterday, Wes.
He did indeed.
Very impressive.
He promised a win and a pin at that, and he did get that. It brings his record to 9-1. 5 of his wins are actually pins, so he's very consistent in doing such. Brings the match score.
Wrestlers are going up to the scorekeepers to argue for something, possibly. Wes, do you have any clue what's going on?
I believe there's some confusion about the weight classes.
Got it. So take us through who, for Gilman, is stepping up right now, Wes.
So Trey is stepping up against Edmondson. Trey is a recent addition to the varsity squad, filling in where there were gaps. Originally a JV wrestler, but trying to prove his worth in the last couple of matches.
Very impressive. It is a quick takedown from Kiski, though, to get a 2-0 lead in this period.
Putting Trey in a bit of a pickle as Kiski extends an early lead to put that mental pressure on. Seems to be wearing him out.
Got it. As we go into this match, currently the team score is 27-0 Gilman. But Kiski are starting off this particular match very well with a quick lead, something similar to what Gilman have been doing the past few matches. How do you think these Kiski wrestlers should approach such a possibly daunting lead that Gilman have racked up very early in this duel?
I think the Kiski wrestlers need to be really aggressive and play to their own strengths, just as the Sherlock brothers have done in the previous matches. They were playing towards their strengths, and I think Kiski, if they adopt a similar strategy, should have some success.
Kiski and Gilman right now fighting for position. See who can get control.
Seems to be trying to turn him to get back points and potentially a pin.
An escape for Gilman for the last few seconds of this period to make it 2-1. Kiski trying to get the legs, but does not.
As the time runs out, it's 2-1 Kiski going into this second period. Gilman has choice, we defer, and Kiski chooses bottom to start the second period.
Let's see with the deficit how Trey can get his way back into this to continue to extend Gilman's lead, keeping the
attempt to bring Edmondson back to the mat fails as Trey is driven into the mat. And Kiski gets a reversal, bringing the score to 4-1.
4-1. Very impressive by Kiski.
Driving in an armbar, which is personally, from my experience, very, very painful. And most likely is going to drive Trey onto his shoulders for hopefully the pin for him.
Yup, Kiski is trying to drive this. One shoulder blade.
Two shoulder blades.
Counting.
With a minute and 10 seconds left in this period, there's not a whole lot more that the Kiski wrestler can do.
And he continues to fight for this pin.
Kiski wrestler is in very good position with both the legs and head controlled.
He's been in this position for coming up on 20 seconds, and Kiski does secure the pin.
This brings the match score to 6-27, and it brings Edmondson's record to 2-4.
Is well fought by Kiski to keep fighting on, even from a daunting lead from Gilman. So this will take us to the 145-pound weight class, with Gilman are sending up Daniel Griffin, a senior with a 5-4 record, and he will be going against Sidney Masuba of Kiski. This is his first match of the season. What should we see out of Daniel during this match, Wes?
I think we should see some really good leg work if he is able to get Sidney to the ground, which he seems to be having some struggle with, as opposed to the Sherlock brothers, who got early takedowns. Daniel seems to be more biding his time to look for a really good shot.
Both wrestlers trying to being more patient a little bit than the past few matches, trying to see when to strike. 45 seconds in, a minute 10 left to go in this first period.
Daniel getting an underhook, some leverage on Musoba.
That's great to keep that control. Takes a leg shot, tries to drive him, and he gets him down for the takedown to go up 2-0.
Straight to his
50
back.
seconds left in this period.
And controls the head and legs, looking for a pin. 45 seconds left in the match. Daniel's in really good position. And a pin, bringing the match score to 33-6.
Great job by Daniel. Makes his season record up to 6-4. And not a great start for Sydney Masuba to start off this season 0-1, but very, very impressive by Daniel. Stay on the moment he got that takedown, it seemed like that whole match flipped, and he could truly turn up the gas pedal like we saw, and he did secure that pin to make the score 33-6.
Gilman sends out Dylan Kamenetz, senior captain, with a 3-5 record for the 152-pound weight class. Wrestling
another captain for Kiski, Zachary Silnutzer. He is with an 0-4 record. So 2 captains going off. So this should be another very competitive match.
An early shot by Kamenetz.
Drives him, gets the takedown. Only 15 seconds into this period, possibly the earliest one we've seen all day.
Seems to really be applying the pressure
him
as he drives him to his back. With a very quick pin, 22 seconds into the match, bringing his record to 4-5.
And that continues Zachary Silnutzer's not great start to the season to bring him to 0-5. That was extremely impressive by Dylan. He just started on the front foot, kept going in less than 25 seconds, gets the pin to bring the score to 39-6. Gilman in a comfortable lead right now.
Gilman sending out Gabe Smith, freshman, his first match of the year, coming off an injury, a foot injury. Really looking forward to this match to see what he's made of. Wrestling Shadale Charles, who is 0-2 this season. Smith gets
Gabe
quick
trying to get
takedown.
Control.
Even
15 seconds into
even
the match.
faster than the last one.
Exactly. These Gilman boys are motivated today to try and bring the third ever Gilman Duels to try and get their third ever Gilman Duels championship.
The last one was back in the 80s or early 90s, back when it was started. And since then, Gilman has been unable to secure another win. And the Gilman boys are really looking for that today.
Gabe here looking to start his season off strong, coming back from the injury that Wes had mentioned, and also just probably trying to build confidence for possibly later in the day. Continuing to try and drive to back points.
Seems to be putting a lot of pressure on Shadale, driving him over to his back to get some back points.
Kiski Shadale doing his best to get out of that. Gabe does have very solid control.
He has an arm and he has both arms and his head locked, which is very, very difficult to escape from.
Continues to drive.
Putting a lot of pressure on the near shoulder to bring it back to the mat and hopefully secure a pin. Oh, and transitions to a headlock.
And it's a pin. Great start to the season for Gabe Smith, coming back from his foot injury from football this fall, bringing his record to 1-0, and for Shadale 0-3. That brings Gilman's score up to 45-6. A very dominant start from Gilman to try and start off this tournament. Got it. So for this next weight class, we have another captain for Gilman. Jack Nuremberger with a 6-4 record, stepping up against the 170-pound Jordan Graham with a 2-2 record for Kiski. Very excited to see how Jack works. Trying to extend his very good start to the season and trying to close out this duel for Gilman with a very dominant lead. Jack trying to be the aggressor in this.
Which seems to backfire as he's stuffed underneath by Jordan Graham, sorry.
And Jack gets the takedown. Well, they go out of the circle and they're going to bring it back in, but that was very impressive on Jack on the edge of the circle to keep on the gas pedal. keep going, keep working, and it secures him a 2-0 lead with 127 with a minute and 27 seconds left in this first period.
Seeing a similar strategy across the Gilman team of a early aggression, early takedown to put the pressure on their opponent.
Try to get back points, and it trying to work his way out. That does secure Jordan an escape, but for a second there, it did look like Jack might have gotten reversed, but that was good for him to get himself out of that precautious situation.
A lot of hand fighting, a lot of fight for the, a good shot by Jack, hoping to get his control back after Graham got an escape earlier in the period. And he does get the takedown.
Jack with 45, trying to get back points. 40 seconds left in this first period, 4-1 lead. Trying to continue Gilman's streak of pins today. And he secures it, bringing his record for the season up to 7-4. And Jordan Graham goes to 2-3. That extends Gilman's great start at a 51-6 lead right now for Gilman. So right now, Gilman have almost secured this match, Wes. We can look ahead a little bit to St. Chris and St. Benedict's. From what I'm seeing, it seems like they're in a very close match. And because of this, we're going to have Wes give a quick interview to one of our team captains, Dylan Clements.
Great match, Dylan. How are you feeling after the match?
I felt good. You know, the first one's always the hardest, but after that, you know, you get in the groove, the muscles are warm, your team's hyping you up, and it just feels good overall.
That's great to hear. So St. Chris, are you looking forward to your match against St. Chris or St. Benedict's?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just glad to be here. We had a couple COVID issues, but I'm just very happy to be here. Looking forward to a full day of fun.
So who are you looking for on those teams that potentially could be a challenge for you?
I'm just looking one match at a time, but I'm really looking forward to wrestle Loyola if we do. Had a tough match with them earlier this season. Looking forward to getting some redemption there.
So what would that redemption really mean for you?
Just progress. Every day you're working hard. It's good to see it pay off.
So as a senior captain and a leader on this team, how are you feeling after an astounding victory against Kiski?
It feels good. I think it's just the start. We had a rough start in the beginning, lost to Spalding and MSJ, but we're here for MIAAs, states, and prep, so that's what we're working for.
And who would you say is kind of moving into the leadership position after you graduate?
I don't know. We have a lot of strong leaders on the team, so it could be anybody.
That's really, really good to hear. So we do have the St. Christopher's and St. Benedict's match coming up, and we don't exactly know what's going on there. We had an astounding victory against Kiski, winning by around 70 points, and believe we will be back approximately around 1:15. So please be sure to tune in when we start the broadcast again.